Hey, hey, how's it going? If you're new here, my name is Jan, and I love makeup. And if you're not new, thanks for coming back. I really appreciate you. The hair and the makeup is from my Throwback Thursday video. I just got done filming that, and I wanted to film this one. So, it's intentional. I haven't gone around the bend, at least not where my hairs are concerned. But I thought it would be fun to talk about a few palettes that I think are like Valentine's Day friendly or Valentine's time friendly, or I feel like you can use your makeup whenever you want to, however you want to. But in case you were looking for some ideas, these are the palettes that kind of jumped out at me like, oh, these could be cute for Valentine's Day. And they're, some are glaringly obvious and some maybe not so much. So I thought we would just play a little, does this palette work for this holiday? I don't know. Hopefully you're into that. If you are, you know what to do. All right, let's get into it. These are in absolutely no order at all. I just randomly went through all my eyeshadow palette spots, grabbed the ones that were like, pick me, and that's how we got here. Your palettes yell to you, right? Like, yours say pick me. First up, we have the Natasha Denona Glam Palette. Now, this isn't going to be like reds and pinks and super girly, but I think if you wanted to do a really pretty, glamorous, just, nice eyeshadow look, you could get several with this palette. This is just really pretty and yeah, I think a little on the glamorous side. So, okay, it is the Glam palette. Glam is short for glamorous, so that checks out, right? So there is the first one. Next up, from Sydney Grace, we have Enduring Love. This is kind of one of the, more obvious ones since the love is in the title. But the color story is really fun, and you could go so many different ways depending on what mood you're in or what you're doing for any particular day. So I think this one would be a really good option. You would get several looks if you wanted to do multiples with one palette. So I think this would be another really good choice. The next one we have is Millennial Pinks from Melt. This is also known as the Jan Got Bullied by Susan palette. So this color story is just, I think, so girly and feminine and sweet that, I think if you were in the mood, this could really get you that kind of a look. And, sometimes I want fuchsia on my face, and sometimes I want something cute and pretty and pink or on the glamorous side. So yeah, three very different palette. Next we have another obvious one. It's the Natasha Denona Love palette. This was I used this recently. Oh, my Copy Kitty. But again, glaringly obvious, a Valentine's Day palette look, Valentine's date, what have you. But I also think if you are more of the single awareness day type, you could probably do something super fun with that as well. Because, you've got some darks, the purples, a couple of neutrals. I think there's just a little bit. I think I want to do something purple. My Copy Kitty looked purple on the model, and I used the exact same shades and the exact same placement for the most part. Obviously I had to make adjustments for my hooded eyelids, but other than that, and it was a very berry toned look. So perhaps I'll do a purple one. Let me know what you think. We have the original Pat McGrath Mega palette. This is the Mega Celestial palette. And this one struck me as kind of like feminine and girly as well. You've got pinks and purples and all the sparkly goodness. So I thought this would be a pretty good Valentine's Day-ish palette. because you certainly don't have to do pink or red. You can do whatever you want. Do a full-on black smoky eye. I love a black smoky eye. But if you wanted something and you had this palette and weren't really thinking Valentines, maybe this will help. That's the entire point of this. Like, if you were looking for ideas and couldn't, get there. Next, we have the Cosmic Brushes Now Cosmic Beauty Royal Rose palette. And this is, pinks and reds, a little bit of purple, a little bit of, green, just some other fun colors. So I think you could definitely come up with a fun Valentine's inspired look. I don't know how many different ways I can say Valentine's-ish without saying Valentine's-ish. It's the quality is fantastic. That's the thing about all of these palettes that I picked. They're obviously amazing quality, since I just did my declutter and these are all still here. Wow, okay, Captain Obvious. Next, we have Odins Eye Jewels and Gems palette. I tried to pick something from a bunch of different brands, and I did look at all of my Odins Eye, and this one, cool toned, you could go purpley, you could go neutral, and get a really nice Valentine's or, anti-Valentine's Day look out of this. It's a lovely palette, and I need to use it more. It's so pretty. Speaking of which, if at any point you see a palette or palettes you think I should use between now and Valentine's Day, please let me know, because I'll totally do it. This one, not glaringly obvious, and I don't know how many people actually have this palette or would break it out for Valentine's Day, but it's the Profusion Casper palette, which was a holiday or Halloween palette. But look at this. I hate this, holographic. It's really hard to see, but it's purpley and blue and cool toned. There's some neutrals. The shimmers in here are nice. The mattes are fantastic. So another palette that I thought maybe not everyone would think, oh, that'd make a great Valentine's palette. So I wanted to mention it. Next up, we have another glaringly obvious, and it is the Nomad Love and Death palette that they did last year for Valentine's time-ish. It was early February, I think, or late January, early February? February. I don't know. I can't remember. But this is, awkward. This is the color story. And again, you can go super Valentine's Day with the reds and the pinks, or you could go super anti-Valentine's Day with the death side. You can mix and match and create your own looks. I really like this palette. A couple of the shimmers in this palette were a little bit hard pressed, so I just take a spoolie, preferably one I'm not going to use on my brow, so it wouldn't be this one, but this one I can reach. I'm just scratch at it a little bit, and then pick it up on my wet brush, spray it, and boom. It works beautifully with hardly any muss or fuss. And I think it's worth it because the shimmers are beautiful. All right, we have 3 more and then we're done, I promise. I decided to go with the Blend Bunny Dollhouse palette for similar reasons, like the Millennial Pinks and the Pat McGrath. It can just be so feminine and girly and pretty, or you can go a little bit more hardcore and do something anti-Valentine's, but again, quality fantastic, and so many different options for looks depending on what you were looking for. Right. Next, glaringly obvious, we have the Unearthly Surrender palette from last Valentine's Day mystery box, which I totally ordered this year. I was so surprised by this palette. I was like, this is just going to be another neutral palette. Nope, it's fantastic. So if you have this, obviously a great Valentine's Day-ish palette. Last but not least, as your girl's getting tuckered, is the Huda Rose Quartz. Again, you're going to get really pretty looks with this. It does have some depth, so you can go there. but you can also keep it super light and ethereal and lovely. I like having options, in case you couldn't tell, most of these palettes. Depending on my mood. Are we going dark and frightening or light and ethereal? Just kidding, I don't really do light and ethereal. But this palette is beautiful too. And again, it's like cool toned, but can take you to either end or in the middle, depending on what you're looking for. So that is all I chose. I have more that probably, you know, could have, let's see, the Unearthly Strawberry Milkshake palette, pink and red, could totally do it. The Cleona Dragon Fruit palette, pink and purple, could totally go there. So there's lots and lots and lots. I just wanted to pick out a few that maybe weren't the most obvious, and then a few that were, because, you know, it's fun to talk about makeups. All right, I'm going to leave it there. Let me know, again, if you have any requests for any of these palettes or other palettes and looks and all the things. I'm always open to ideas around playing with makeups. All right, hopefully you liked this video and it was a little bit helpful. If you did, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Either way, I appreciate you hanging out with me today. Be good and remember to be kind to you.